The man had a rope around his neck and was about to be hanged. He looked down at the bottomless river beneath his feet, then glanced around at the armed soldiers surrounding him. Escape was absolutely impossible. Next, his hands and feet were tightly bound. The officer looked at the sun behind him. It seemed the time had come. At the officer's command, the man was lifted into the air. But instead of dying, he plunged into the river. Miraculously, the rope around his neck snapped. Looking up through the water, he saw sunlight piercing the surface, as if granting him a second chance at life. It seemed he was not meant to die today. The man began struggling desperately underwater. The rope around his wrists gradually loosened. He freed his hands and then untied the noose from around his neck. Fighting with all his strength, he swam upward. The lack of oxygen made him dizzy, but he held his breath and endured. He broke free from the restraints on his legs and kicked off his heavy boots. The man swam quickly to the surface, breathing in fresh air once more. Everything in the forest felt so full of life. But the soldiers on the bridge had spotted him. Bullets rained down toward him. Luckily, they were too far away to hit him. He frantically swam forward through the river. More soldiers joined the firing. Bullets whizzed past his body. A whole unit lined the riverbank, continuing to shoot. Several times, bullets came dangerously close to hitting him. The man kept swimming. He was now out of their range. The soldiers lit a cannon. The shell hit the water, making his scalp tingle from the shock. To avoid the blasts, the man dove underwater again. The soldiers soon lost sight of him. When he surfaced, he found himself approaching a section of rapids. The current swept him downstream, tossing him about in the water. Eventually, he reached a shallow area. Exhausted, he passed out. When he awoke and saw blood seeping from his hands, he finally realized he was still alive. He forgot all about his fatigue. He rolled on the ground like a child, overjoyed. But a cannon blast brought him back to reality. The soldiers had not given up the chase. Terrified, he kept running along the riverbank, through dense forest, over hills. Even as thorns tore into his toes, he felt no pain. At last, he reached a tree-lined road. He ran wildly down the path. The scenery grew more and more familiar. All he could think about was getting home as fast as possible. Never had he missed his wife more than in that moment. Every time he fell, he got back up. Even with his feet blistered and bleeding, he kept going. After who knows how long, he finally saw that familiar gate. Just beyond it was his home. He pushed aside a branch and stepped into the yard. His beautiful wife smiled and walked toward him. The man ran toward her. Tears filled her eyes as she saw her husband again. She cupped his face in her hands. Suddenly, the man felt a tightness in his throat. He was hanged to death beneath the bridge. It turned out everything had been an illusion. Because of his intense will to live, and his deep longing for his wife, he had entered a hallucination in his final moments of pain and fear. A dreamlike experience created by his mind as it faced death. In the end, the man was unable to change reality. But in that brief illusion, he fulfilled his final wish, to see the person he loved most, and to feel that heart-wrenching happiness one last time.